So these kids threw rocks at this old man's car as he drove by. But the old man did nothing. He just kept driving. Seated in the passenger seat was his grandson. "Grandpa," he cried out, "they hit your car with those rocks." "They did," the old man shrugged. "But we've got your soccer game to get to. Shouldn't we go after them?" the grandson pleaded. But the old man just kept on driving. What came next was a win for the grandson's soccer team. But afterwards, in the parking lot on the way back to the car, an aggressive boy from the other team soaked the grandson with his water bottle. Meanwhile, the aggressive boy's father stood by idly, without a peep. Even after seeing the aggressive boy's mean-spirited actions and the father's complete lack of intervention, the old man did nothing but place a firm arm around his grandson as they continued to the car. "Why did you let him get away with that?" the grandson cried out. "Now I'm all wet." "There's a dry towel in the back," the old man nodded, ignoring the incident altogether. Then came what the grandson was sure would be the last straw. To celebrate the win, the old man drove over to the local ice cream shop. There, a large, rowdy group of high schoolers wedged their way to the front of the line, cutting everyone behind them, including the old man and his grandson. Again, the old man did nothing. "Aren't you gonna say something?" his grandson cried. But the old man just shook his head. By the time they reached the front counter, the only flavors left were pistachio and butter pecan. And so that's what they got. "I just don't get it." The grandson shook his head. "Things have been going wrong all day, but you haven't done anything about it." To this, the old man smiled. It was finally time he explained why. "Let me ask you," he said. "What would have happened if we had stopped the car when those little boys threw those rocks?" His grandson mulled it over for a bit. "They would have ran. And we may have been late to the game," he murmured. "And what about the boy who splashed water on you?" the old man asked. "What if we turned around and gave him a piece of our minds?" "I'm not sure," the grandson shrugged. "And what about the group that cut us in line to get ice cream?" the old man asked. "Well, then we at least could have gotten the flavors we wanted," the grandson asserted. "Perhaps," the old man smiled. "But how do you like your butter pecan?" "Well, I've never had it before, but it's actually pretty good." Then finally, the old man drew in a long, deep breath. "Here's the way I see it. One day, the boys who threw those rocks will find that their luck runs out. Because that type of person, someone who throws rocks, always learns the hard way. And so, even though we did nothing despite their wrongdoing, we can take peace of mind knowing that life will teach them a harder lesson than we ever could." The old man continued. "The same applies to the boy who splashed you with water. He'll learn the hard way too. But for you, it only takes a minute to get dried off. By doing nothing, including not letting yourself dwell on it, you can stop 1 minute from ruining the other 1,439 minutes you have in your day. And then, there's the ice cream. Sure, we could have cut our way back ahead of that group. Then, we certainly would have got the original flavors we wanted. But our path took us in a different direction. And once the ice cream was gone, it was gone. But we couldn't have known the ice cream would run out. So instead of getting upset over something we didn't know and something we couldn't control, we found a sugary, sweet silver lining in the new flavors we discovered. But what if someone's doing something really, really wrong? What then?" the boy asked as he finished his butter pecan ice cream. "Those times will come," the old man said, "and your gut will let you know when to step in. But as soon as you can learn to let go of the little things, you can focus on what matters most." As the old man finished his pistachio ice cream, he placed a hand on his grandson's shoulder. "Just remember that sometimes life gets back at wrongdoers better than you ever can. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. And sometimes your strongest power, one you can use time and time again to win in life's toughest battles, lays in one simple choice: to do nothing."